Hello out there and a happy new week to you. Yes, welcome to the newspaper review here on TAF TV. This is where we get to discuss trending and catchy newspaper headlines with people on the street. We get to discuss at different newspaper stands here in Port Harcourt. We get to see the reactions and what the people have to say as regards the headlines making rounds on the papers. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today. And yes, you out there, you are viewers, can also be a part of this show. If you're yet to subscribe to our channel, please do well to subscribe, turn on your notification button, connect with us across all our social media platforms so that you get to receive our notifications. Well, before we discuss with people, let's first look into the newspapers and see what the stories look like. Today being 11th March, Monday 2024. We could see our headline here. It reads, Tinubu launches student loan Thursday. Foreign scholars seek inclusion. Details of this story is found on page 40. Only foreign borrowing can save Naira. Clear CBN debt, says EIU. Details is found on page 36. Naira devaluation fueling massive regional exports, says governors. Details is found on page 31. We see how the main story here reads, school in 14 states. FCT risk attack, says federal government. Sub-story under that reads, Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Katsina, FCT. Others affected, 465 pupils, women in kidnappers' den. Another sub-story under that reads, federal government receiving U.S. support to free victims. Presidency alleges sub-regional forces behind kidnapping. Details is found on page 2. And we see here it says, Ramadan begins today. Sultan seeks prayers against insecurity, hardship. Details is found on page 42. Two cops suspended, 3 on trial for $3,000 extortion. Details is found on page 4 and 5. Many feared trap as 5-story building collapsed in Anambra. Details is found on page 4 and 5. 50 IPOB camps destroyed, shallow graves uncovered, says military. Details is found on page 6. And that's all we'll be taking on the Punch newspaper. And moving on, we'll be looking at the Nation's newspaper. We can see as headline here reads, CBN screens bank financial reports for infractions. Details is found on page 5. Groups challenge Southeast governors' collective action to attract investors. Details is found on page 6. Military eliminates 20 IPOB stroke E. Military eliminates 20 IPOB ESN terrorists. Details is found on page 7. EFCC quizzes 10 oil theft suspects in Akwa Ibom. Details of the story is found also on page 7. We see here it says, 2 trapped, many injured in Anambra 5-story building collapse. Details is found on page 7. The main story here reads, Presidency slams senator over budget padding claim. Sub-story under that reads, It's decisive antic to achieve primordial ends. 3 North senators kick. Details of this story is found on page 4. PENCOM didn't give federal government 10 trillion naira loan. Details of this story also is found on page 4. You can see here it says, Apapa appeals judgment reinstating Abure as Labour Party national chairman. This is found on page 26. You can see here it says, Yari annual Ramadan feeding program benefits throughout 250,000 households. Details of this story is found on page 8, and that's all we'll be taking on the Nation's newspaper. All right, and lastly, we'll be looking at the Vanguard newspaper. We could see our headline here reads, Muslims begin Ramadan fast today. Details of the story is found on page 8. Let God hear the prayers and fastings of our Muslim brothers and sisters out there. All right, still on the newspapers here, we could see it says, federal government threatens to revoke Bini Auchi Lokoja road contract. Details is found on page 12. Edo Guba, how Edo South leaders Obaseki, Igodalo agreed on PDP running mates. Details is found on page 23. State of the nation, we can't continue like this. Professor Okonkwo. Details is found on page 14. We see how the main story here reads, businesses suffocating as energy costs shoot skywards. Details of this story is found on page 20. We see here it says, hunger. If federal government fails to secure farmers, food prices will remain high, says FACAN. Details is found on page 5. Fresh suits ask courts to deregister Labour Party bar candidates. Details is found on page 8. Troops eliminate 20 IPOB ESN terrorists. Details is found on page 11. And that's all we'll be taking on the Vanguard newspaper. Now let's get to see the reactions of people on the street. Let's get to hear what they have to say as regards the headlines making rounds on the papers. All right, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome. I'd like your thoughts on the Vanguard newspaper that says hunger. If federal government fails to secure farmers, food price will remain high.
Yes, food price will remain high because one, federal government cannot secure farmers. First, Nigeria itself is artificial creation of a white man. British government that colonized Nigeria give us wrong colony.
And we are still going with that.
Yes, yeah, we are still going with that full step. Instead of coming back to indigenous system of education, that we build our own civilization. Nigeria is artificial creation of a white man, so Nigeria cannot ever recover. Instead, people are going to die, more hunger, more hardship. They join different ethnic nationalities together and call them a nation. A nation is a group of people that share the same culture, affinity. In other words, your grandmother senior Nigeria. Exactly. If you find out your grandmother senior Nigeria, so if you go and ask, mommy, grandma, where are you? Before the country called Nigeria was formed, because it was formed. It was not created by God. If you go to history, just Google who created Ghana, who created America and other civilized nations, you will see how they come together and emerge through their various history. But Nigeria was an artificial creation of a white man. In them is 1911, 1930, 1912, there was no nation called Nigeria. It was created in 1914. So since they cannot be able to subscribe to one particular way of law, it means Nigeria cannot stand. So it's going to affect all sectors. Nigeria is a secular state. But as I'm talking to you now, they have already recognized Nigeria as an Islamic nation by former British Prime Minister. British Prime Minister. So all the problem Nigeria have is too big. The only problem that we solve Nigeria issue is peaceful dissolution. Is it a referendum to different ethnic nationality, or United Nations have to come in? Because what is going to happen, as I'm talking to you now, only Rivers State produce different graduates, but they end up in the street selling okra, hanging up and down, doing one thing is the other, as a result of British colony. Check how they colonize themselves. The least country in Europe, you can't compare it here. The rich country in Europe, you can't compare Nigeria with the least country in Europe. Just like Hungary produced 10 times more than electricity Nigeria produced. So what are we trying to say? They give us wrong colony. What we need is our system of education, where we get our own, in CBD in Igbo, just our own system of education, like A, B, C, D in our own language. If you want white man to respect you, that's the way you do him, he go respect you. So as far as we keep worshipping white man and we keep buying their civilization, we are not going anywhere. This same problem that is facing Nigeria is the whole of Africa. But the destiny of Africa lies in Nigeria. In other words, they should allow Nigeria to people that want to develop themselves. Devolution of power. Or let each state control their resources. Only Rivers State don't even have Minister of Agriculture. There's not
as big as, let's say, a region. Let them make a region.
Let them make a region. Devolution of power. Let Rivers State and other states have their own system of agriculture, where government will invest in agriculture. This one, people that are consuming the food are too much. So there's no way. And the same thing applicable to other states. Now come to insecurity. S-men, bandits, the same thing, like they created all these men, but they claim that they did not know about who the people. They call them bandits. These are the creation of the caliphate for Islamization agenda.
Now, do you think these bandits and these attacks and insecurity, do you think they are political? Because I heard somebody say it's a political thing. Some of the government parasites gain from it.
No, it's not a political issue. Why do you say? For one thing about we here in Africa now, they don't even know what politics is all about. For you they're not inclined, they're not well learned to know what politics is all about before you now refer crime to politics, and it's very wrong. Politics is a righteous game. It's a very righteous practice. So for you to say that bandit and all that is a political issue, get me wrong. These are creation from the caliphate for Islamization agenda, because they believe that in order for them to continue to expand their worship all over the world, that they have to create a particular wings, that we enforce it. Why anything that has to do with religion is freedom of worship. You can decide to worship anything you want. But now what is happening in Africa? Just now check in the way, other in Middle East, like Arab nation, they are doing a marvelous way, because the same way, the way Nigeria is practicing when it comes to Islam is not the same way they practice. But here in Africa, everything comes to be upside down. They are killing. It's not political, because them themselves created it, but they are the one that send them to kill. What you see them doing, they kill kidnap people from the region. They kidnap people from the region so that they will make more money. At the same time, they will go to federal government, insecurity, so that they will fund the budget to buy arms, and the same arms return back to these same people. They use the same means.
Indirectly benefit from
Thank you. They indirectly benefit from it, because in order for federal government to tackle insecurity, they must first of all move to the bill. And if it is going to cost them 30 billion, they sign it. But the same people now calling for insecurity are the ones that created those men. They are going to call these men to go India and pick. Imagine they pick ordinary farmer. You pay 50-something million naira. What about what about a layman, or let's just refer all these oil companies? If the moment they catch each personnel know that they are oil personnel that work in a multinational company, it then means no multinational company that could be able to stay in Nigeria. So the insecurity you are hearing is not the political, it's them they say that created to destabilize the region. Because the more they kidnap the indigenous, the weaker they become. You can't fight them. At the same time, they are benefiting from the government to fund them more. We only in Nigeria, we have how many terrorist groups? We have Al-Shabaab, we have Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, we have ISIS, we have a Fulani S-men, we have Taliban. There are so many of them. They created these particular people for Islamization agenda to take over all the whole country, for people, everybody to believe one nation, one God. That's what that result to Muslim ticket.
But is it possible for the country to be Islamized, knowing that they have different kinds of cultures in the country, knowing that we are from different regions, different countries, different cultures, different languages?
Honestly speaking, it's very possible. It's possible for Nigeria to be easily Islamized, because the Caliphate, British government, really teach them very well how to Islamize a nation. Before Britain walked into Africa, or the world already brought Europe to Africa, how did they really succeed and chain Africa together? Is that same way that British is using? In other words, when you see the Fulani raping our women in the farm, killing people, Fulani men raping people, is a spiritual something that I have to weaken the land first. In other words, they defy the land, because they know that the more they rape, they do whatsoever sacrilege and abomination to the land. It will make the leaders, the custodian of the land, to be weak. In other words, if they introduce cattle colony, it will make they will invite them over. They will accept it.
This is from a spiritual angle.
It's a very spiritual. So when you see them rape our women, they don't do it for fun. Maybe to fuck the hungry. They know to have sexual intercourse or sexual emotional feeling, whatever, with our elderly people. They don't do it for fun. It's not part of them. They study how to conquer a nation. To study how to conquer the land. It's systematic conquer is very spiritual. So it's very possible, because the people that colonize us give us European idol, the worship of the Europe, while we abandon the worship of our own, the worship of the Asians. African has their own religion. But for them to succeed in that essay is very perfect. That is the same way British and Europe conquer Africa. That in Berlin conference, they have to share Africa as a supermarket within them. It does not come just through all this political, or it's have a very spiritual understanding, and that's what they do. It's something that the Fulani are doing. So when you see them raping, it's very easy. It will make the elite more stupid, the youth will be more stupid. All of a sudden, they will accept them immediately, because the political class will now write a motion that they are going to introduce cattle colony. And so said, next you see the governor and the cabinet and the stakeholder will accept it. How did he manage possible? Because there are people that have to weaken the land first to make sure that they defy the land. The same thing happened in other countries, but when it comes to Africa in fact, there's nothing to write home about it. So that's why they will keep on moving higher and higher. The only way that this thing will not happen, if only they will conduct a referendum for those that want to go, so that it will serve as a lesson, and they will also open their eyes. In other words, those that are agitating for Biafra, let the right thing be done. Because before it seemed they can come in shouting. This is what they have already foresaw. And now everybody has seen that most of the prophecy that the man said is what that is happening currently now. So when you see Fulani men raping our men, women committing crime, killing, splitting blood of innocent on the lines of the nation. For instance, if Nigeria want to take over Ghana, now very simple. It's for Nigeria to go and practice and learn what is a sacrilege and abomination in the land of Ghana. And if they say raping is abomination, all those things, is to put Nigerian youth in the forest. Let them raping. Keep on committing sacrilege that is against the land. Then let Nigerian leaders now write a kind of relationship to the Ghana government. Ghana government will accept. is very active. So when you see them doing all sort of whatever they're doing, they're not just doing for fun. It's a result of, in fact, it's a let down principle by the government, by British government. So the caliphate really get it very well. Even Britain, as I'm talking to you now, Britain is even scared of the caliphate, the Fulani. They are scared of them because when you hear the devil is safe, they refer black man as the devil. Why people refer black man as the devil? Because black man have no conscience. That's why you see their civilization. They revolt against the government. So wherever there's no revolution, no change. Since the people cannot revolt because the land is already weakened, people no go fit just begin the protest. Whatever they try to do now, after a while, it will come down. Better revolution, the revolt against the government will change Nigeria, but as it stands now, it's too late because the land is already weakened. All ethnic nationality, they are weakening the land by committing sacrilege in the land. So the particular spirit that is in charge of that land is off. It's not the spirit doesn't die, but they have subdued the spirit, and the spirit now have to go back. Since it's already there in the scripture, if you want to eat the fruit of the land, you must obey the law of the land. But since you cannot be able to obey the law of the land, and you allow external forces, external people, or a stranger to come and commit sacrilege, then you cannot be able to eat the fruit of the land. So what the Fulani are doing now, they are not only doing in the north, it's all over anywhere. Where you see now they cannot launch ESN. They launch ESN to stop them from doing this. Because if they do it more, I can assure you, on one faithful day, you cannot carry a Bible and go to church. You cannot go and practice your faith. I'm telling you, there is systematic conquering, and it's very spiritual. That's what people don't know. So I don't know if you still have any other headline.
Right, thank you very much. All right, good morning.
Good morning, bro.
Welcome. I would like your thoughts on the Vanguard newspaper that says hunger. If federal government fails to secure farmers, food prices will remain high. You know that hunger has really been disturbing us in Nigeria and even insecurity.
That one are true because of the way we're by government there. So we're not getting hope. So apart from God now, go come the secure house. And if I thought that the new government there come and we don't know, but for this bad government, now only thing we just forget hope now, only God. Because as it don't be like this now, people die because of hungry, because nobody saying a sickness. How person now go there 2 days, 3 days, they no eat, everything they high. Exactly. So we no get
transportation and even as little as bread.
Everything. You're only about the why they push on now, you're the collect ticket from me, which is not supposed to be so because of the bad government. So everything they hide. And now where we there, so now nobody now get hope for this government apart from God. So for me, I no get hope for government. I don't know whether new government come, whether the thing go there so, but for now, we no get hope for this government. We see so. That's only the solution we get. Anything where you do for your own now, to you do it, you do them. Apart from that, no more.
And we could see that the insecurity, kidnapping, killings is increasing. Like in the north, we could see the record 460 something kidnapping of students, school students. Now, some persons are saying because of the level of hardship in the country, while some persons are saying because of the removal of fuel subsidy. What do you have to say about that?
Now, because of the way we government there, because this is not there before. So because of the no war, no company, no everything. So our person go take suffer for this war with that. So anything where person now fit do now, no blame person now because of the government. So no job, nothing, everywhere they dry. So if I thought nothing now take place, no blame anybody now because of bad government. So even though all this thing where the system now government don't see them, but nothing concern now because we no be a generation. That make everything just there like that. So this is now that affect God, no affect them. So because of say as it they bring now the children and the wife, they don't chop belly food, they don't even see how this one be. So this is where they see so now anything when they happen now because of bad government, no blame anybody.
Okay, most of these things are because of bad government. People in the markets now, we know that food is high, but from people in the market are purposely increasing the price of food. They are blaming it on petrol, using it to disguise. Some Nigerians are the ones doing ourselves. Well, what do you think about that?
This is where they see so now because of we know that. But because of the way where something there, then you carry this now put for the government. Because you're there like now, if you do something now, you get hope that person now they attack you for your village or maybe wish, but not be win because of the thing way back country there. So everything now there for the government head. If at all now the thing not come down now, because this is now no call like this before. How person now go you pay transport from here to my train now, 500, 200, 300 from Port Harcourt, just somewhere there when they say you go feel use lake. So something no there like this. If person now transport like that now go buy something now come back. Even though say if the share where person now they stand at this woman they stand so every group now they come collect 500 naira. So if you hear they calculate all this thing now, the thing because of it now government because no job. If they say now job there, this is now go for no take place. So no blame anybody. Even though say anyhow where do people now they say something now because of the way that government there. I know say the thing no there like this before. Something yes. So if you don't carry the thing now, compare with now and before, you go know say something don't change. And no, nothing. Government even shape body every day. So we die for hungry. So even though this thing now take place, not blame anybody now because of government. So if the government know say this thing now no be for here, making God look at the country be, shut everything down so that the thing now go there. We don't know how this thing now come out. So that's the only thing.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, this is where we draw our curtains for today, and you've heard what has been discussed here. If eventually you have anything to add to it or you have a counter opinion, please slide to our comment section and drop your comments. Do well to subscribe to our channel, follow us across all our social media platforms. Turn on your notification too if you are here to do all of this so that you get to receive our notifications. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today, and this has been the newspaper review here on TAF TV. See you next time.